Morning, everybody. Just wanted to kind of reach out this morning. Something that's been on my mind a lot recently, and something that I take really seriously, is as a high school English teacher, I feel like it's my responsibility as a teacher to not just help kids learn about English and how to read better and how to, put together their essays and prepare a body of work, but the way I conduct and compose myself in different scenarios also plays a huge role in how I'm an effective teacher. And sometimes when my personal life isn't going the way that I want it to, or I'm struggling with some of my inner demons, which there are many, I think that I struggle with being the role model that I feel like I'm supposed to be in front of my students. And I think that struggle is very real, and making sure that transparency of that experience is something that I also want to communicate to my students, because I think inherently most of us are very good people who don't often make awesome decisions. Sometimes in our lives, we make decisions for the wrong reasons. Sometimes they're out of need, sometimes they're out of want, sometimes we're not considering the consequences, sometimes they're just impetuous decisions that we very quickly have buyer's remorse about. And then undoing the bell we rang is extraordinarily challenging. And it takes a really strong character to say, you know what, I made a mistake. I apologize for that mistake. I'm going to do my best to right the mistake and try really hard not to make the mistake again. And I think it's totally okay for kids to know that we're human. I don't think that that's really what it is. I think it's a really harsh judgment on myself. I expect myself to know the right thing. I expect myself to do the right thing, and I don't always, really. Sometimes I'm not completely present. Sometimes I just have serious digressions from whatever reality I'm living in. And, when there are different things going on, it's very simple to seek out things that make you feel good about yourself. And instead of really doing the hard work to make yourself a better person, you go for the easy fix of, this is going to make me feel good right now. And I still have a bit of that adolescent in me somewhere, and it resonates with me when I see students doing it. And it's so easy for me to help a kid say, I totally understand why you're doing that, but it's not going to serve you in the long run. And although it's not popular or comfortable or fun to make the choice to do the quote unquote right thing, we need to learn from the mistake that we made and do our very best to correct what's ever underlying the challenge to begin with. Because I think we triage, at least I triage. I think about the challenges that are on the surface, the pain that's being created from the deeper, bigger issues, and rather than address the deeper, bigger issues, sometimes we band-aid the stuff on the surface, or I band-aid the stuff on the surface to kind of get me through it until I get to a place where I could be like, all right, this is clearly not working. Maybe on some deeper level I knew it was never going to work, but it was nice for a second or two. It definitely got me through the tough time I was having at that moment, and now that I have a little bit more clarity, it's really, really important for me to, first of all, apologize if there was any collateral damage in my decision-making process, because there often is collateral damage. I don't think it's ever intended, but it happens, and that doesn't make it right, whether or not my intention was to hurt somebody else unintentionally or whatever. If someone gets hurt and I'm responsible for that hurt, it's my responsibility to fix it. Apologize genuinely and try not to do it again. And I think at this point in my life, as an adult person who's, moving up in years, as a 38-year-old person who is in front of 17 and 18-year-olds on a regular basis, I think it's really important for me to model that behavior. Not that students are privy to a lot of my life decisions, but certainly colleagues or friends who understand what's going on in my life and choices that I make. And I think it's really important for kids to understand that some of these deep issues that we get when we're young don't go away just because you grow up. I think unless I personally actually work very hard at making changes in my life, they don't change. The fact of the matter is, there are some behaviors I established as an adolescent that have grown into my adulthood that take a lot of effort to move away from. And I'm extremely aware of them. I've been aware of them for a long time. I was in therapy a lot as a child and as a young adult and moving into my life, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I've always gotten or sought the help that I've needed when I've needed it, and I think that is a strength of character, not a weakness of one. And because I am acutely aware of my particular brand of challenges, I am also acutely aware of the strategies I've used both unsuccessfully and successfully to heal them. So when I'm struggling at these moments in my personal life and I'm worried about what I'm espousing or showing or modeling to kids, both consciously or unconsciously, I'm not afraid to tell students that I'm going through something. I'm also not afraid to draw a boundary really fast if it's completely inappropriate to do that. And I'm acutely aware that my behavior impacts the way kids see me and also impacts behaviors students have later, on maybe sometimes a very subconscious level. And there's a lot of responsibility there, and I'm okay with that. The same way I'm okay with it with my own child. I'm very human though. I make a ton of mistakes, and I'm also very transparent about that. The bottom line is that human beings struggle, and when we get better at what we're doing with ourselves, I feel that struggle is something that makes us much stronger, much more interesting people. And when we can be honest about the struggles that we have, I think it also makes us more compelling to kids, because dealing with the issues that we have and dealing with the struggles that we have rather than just doing the triage actually makes us so much more complete. And morning everybody. And in that, I think that we have this often very, very, very me personally, I struggle because when things get really hard for me personally, I seek out other people, perhaps not the right other people. I'm looking to fill some very adolescent needs that really aren't there. And what I do realize is the older I get, the faster I understand that I'm doing it and the faster I can correct it. I haven't gotten to a place in my 38-year-old life yet where I avoid the behaviors completely. I do sometimes, and I'm very proud of myself when I do, but it's always in my mind that that's an easy fix and it will make me feel good. And, I feel like at this point in my life, being codependent on those decision-making situations is not someplace I really want to be. Yes, it's so true. We are still growing, and the older I get, the more I realize that. And then the second side of that coin is the reality that I can't be so hard on myself. I'm ridiculously hard on myself. The expectations I have are so high that I punish myself a great deal for making mistakes sometimes, and just being able to love myself and be able to say, you know what, Star? Okay, so you messed up. You realized you messed up this time, and really fast. You're gonna fix it, and maybe next time you won't make this mistake, but let's try to dwell in a little bit in, first of all, why we went this route. Why did I make that decision to do that? What was I covering up? Why did I feel a need to do this? And more importantly, how did I grow from the experience, whether I made that decision again? And now just trying to love that part of myself that really needed the affection and really needed things in a different way. But I feel pretty grateful most of the time, the older that I'm getting. And it's extraordinarily humbling, my humanity, because yes, it is so true. Unlearning does take a lot of practice. And when we develop specific strategies and crutches throughout our lives, whether it be in our learning or our personal lives, unlearning those things and replacing them with better, healthier strategies is definitely challenging. And I think I see it with my students all the time, and I just kind of want to reach out to them and be like, I so understand why you're doing this, and I want to understand, I want you to understand that I want to help, because I've been there, and you're going to be in so much more pain if you don't start fixing this now. And it really has been a gift. But I just wanted to share that with everybody, because right now, I've said this in the past couple of weeks, the holiday season is really, really, really tough. And I just, I want to get through the season really just okay. And I hope everybody is having a great day. And if you're struggling too out there, you're not alone. And, I hope everybody's having just a really, really, really good day, and live in the positive and try not to judge yourself too much, man. So much stuff. Anyway, thank you all for chiming in this morning. I really appreciate that. I'll speak to you soon.